Hello, guys. Good day. This is Anne of Reinforcement Club, your fellow positive reinforcer. Today, I'm going to share to you the lessons I've learned after failing 5 times in the English test before coming here in Europe. So, I started that journey of taking my first two tests when I was around 24 or 25 years old. That was over 10 years. But it was the hardest part in my life because I've sacrificed time, effort, and money to be able to get to the goal that I want to go abroad. But it didn't work out. There's a lot of twist and turn that happened. In my first two tests, by the way, my dad sponsored the first tests. And after that, it was all mine. He said that, look, you have to work hard for that. I cannot sponsor you. I cannot give you everything. You have to do your part so that you're really going to do it at the best of your ability. So that was my dad told me. And when I was younger, I used to be a happy-go-lucky kind of person. And I thought that success is about luck. Sometimes it just happens. And I didn't really understand success before. I didn't understand the hard work and sacrifices behind it. So I was even inconsistent in my study habits, and I am presumptuous that some examiners might let me pass. So that was my thinking before, and I really thought that I wasn't smart enough like other people. I keep comparing myself to others, which is kind of insulting in my part because I never should have compared myself to other people because I am different. So I ended up, what happened? Taking the first 3 exams in the Philippines before going to Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And that was my mindset. And in my third take, in the English test, I was kind of serious about it. But, my effort wasn't enough. So, since I couldn't pass the test, I decided to go to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And, in those situations, I learned to survive being alone. I'm already off from dad's protection, financially, emotionally. I was able to learn to grow, independently without my dad's coverage, without my dad's protection, my dad's care. So I got to do things on my own that time. And yeah, that was the turning point though, that, it was actually a hard work in Saudi Arabia, though it was also a good offer. And there was no tax, from the salary that time. So what we used to sign on the contract, that's the salary that we're going to receive. Maybe this time it's different, but it was a good effort. It was a good offer, but hard work for the nurses. So since it was pretty much boring in the compound, but there was a free gym. I tried to challenge my weight. I started reading. Because yes, in taking my first 3 English tests, I'm not a reader. I wasn't. I mean, the last time that I read books was, during my student years. But when I graduated the degree, I stopped reading. I only take the practice tests in English. In that English IS tests. So my reading comprehension was quite needs improvement that time. So in Saudi Arabia, I learned to, build reading habits for myself. I learned to cope and adapt the hardship of being independent there. I learned to invest. I learned to cherish and take good care of my health because it's also stressful. So the turning point, from that hardship that I have experienced of really dying to pass exam because I want to grow. I want to go and work in the Western countries. So what happened was that I yeah, I've learned to take good care of myself. And from that, building the reading habits, I also realized that maybe I could also practice some, English reading materials from the English tests. And I also, you know, I was also encouraged by some of my friends who passed the exam in Saudi Arabia. So I worked in Saudi for 2 years, and then I went back to Philippines to be with dad and to beat the English test because I really want to go and work in the Western countries. So that time in the fourth and fifth take, it was really a massive, massive effort. So what I did was, look, I enrolled myself into two testing centers, two review centers, not as testing center, review centers. And I collect the materials from these two review centers plus the materials from my colleagues and friends from different review center. That was wild that I can't take to fail anymore. So I also started to show up to myself by means of doing the things that I've said I'm going to do. So when I said to myself, I'm going to study every day, up to, from Monday to Saturday, I'm going to allot 1.5 hours studying, the exam. And I did it. I show up every day. So that's what happened. And then since I started showing up for myself by doing the things that I said I'm going to do, I started to be confident. I started to be proud of myself. I felt like I can rely on myself, whatever happens. So, on the fourth take, yes, I did fail again, but I was getting much angry, or even angrier to really beat the exam. And I took the exam again, and then I did failed. It was IELTS, actually. And there goes OET, OET English test, which is that time from Australia and UK. That's what I heard from the accents in the tests. So I've realized that if I keep beating IELTS, if I challenge myself to really just stick to IELTS, I would lose because this is not about the exam. It's about the destination. It's about the goal of working in the Western countries. So I decided to take OET. And the same thing again. I enrolled myself to 2 review centers plus much more collections online references and resources, as well as from my friends, about that OET exam. And I study every day. And yes, I passed. And it wasn't even perfect though. I think one of my score was not completely A all, or I guess one of my maybe listening or reading, or one was B. Yeah, B or B plus. It's not consistently like in IELTS 7 or 7.5. I got maybe 6.5 in one of the tests, but overall, yes, I got qualified, and I finally clicked apply on the jobs available in Western countries. After the feeling of nervousness, anxiety, and trembling, on the exam week. So by the time I got the result from that English test, immediately I applied to different countries because I don't want to take the exam anymore. And then after that, when I clicked, there was a job available in Ireland. When I clicked apply, yeah, it was actually a long process, a good offer, but such a long process in a span of a year. I thought that, this might not even gonna work, but yeah, somehow it did. It was real. And it was also a good offer, and the people were accommodating in the institution as well as the agency. employees who lead us to, who guided us to get land in the job. So they're all accommodating. We even had a welcome party. And currently, I'm still in the same institution. We have good facilities so far. So, it was the hardest part because it wasn't my strength. I tried to catch up and compromise for my weakness, but I made it. And I have learned that, nothing is impossible if you're willing to do whatever it takes. Like when you failed, in my part, every time I failed, I get angrier. I really want to nail that exam. I'm getting more challenge if I fail. If you're willing to do whatever it takes, even to the point of overcoming the most painful rejection and failures, and sacrifices, just never give up until you get it. Ever, never, ever give up. Even in the longest time, just keep your eyes on the prize. And in time, it will be yours. And the destiny will show up for you. And, the skills that I have learned in those adversities, in those hard times, I was able to use it this time in other areas. So that was such a life-changing moment to me that somehow I am thankful that it happened. I'm thankful that I failed because, look, I can use the skills that I've learned in different areas. Whatever life is, what life is giving me, challenges whatsoever. So that was one of the biggest lessons I've learned. So I hope that, you learned something from the episode today. You can even share this to your family and friends. You can follow me in YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, even in Amazon Podcasts if you ever love this. I hope so. And I hope this story will help you too. And by the way, this is Reinforce Me Club and your fellow positive reinforcer. I do appreciate your time and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.